LA's on fire, but not from fires.
Stalked around the house like a burglar, trying every door and window. So worried a neighbor would see me and confronted me or
did a bad job. So we should have been a little bit tougher on this agent.
You've got so many moving parts in real estate. I think a lot of times people don't understand there are, buyers, there are sellers.
Welcome back to your favorite podcast on the planet. And the number one podcast on the planet, all things real estate. This is the Realty Talks podcast. To my left, we have Suzanne Sini, the queen of the closing table,
And
founder and CEO of Innovate.
Yes. How is your nickname feeling, Paul Fix-It-All Hansen?
Fix it all. Yeah. I read that same book to my daughter at least once or twice a week, and that's all I can think about.
It feels right. Okay.
I don't know if I can fix everything. But some things.
There's effort there to fix things.
Yes, I like that nickname.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
What's new? It's been a minute.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, it's crazy. Just another crazy day in Southern California.
Another crazy week.
Yeah.
1 week down. We have a lot to talk about today. There's like 3 or 4 major topics.
Yeah.
So today is Monday, June 9th.
Yes.
And it was a interesting weekend for Southern California.
Yeah.
So maybe we start there.
I think we should dive in because, LA, once again, LA's on fire, but not from fires, not
a
from
couple small fires.
There are fires, but not from houses burning down, hopefully. But
so if you're watching this will air just a couple days. But what we're talking about is there are riots in LA or protests, I should say.
Yeah,
that have turned into maybe a riot.
Yeah.
Or I'm not sure yet.
Maybe.
As of this morning.
You never know.
Yes. And so ICE is performing their work.
Yeah.
And so the city has come together and, or parts of the city, I guess. There's really like 2 or 3 areas. So the major part is off of the 10 right by, it's kind of like right by the main courthouse in downtown LA, or just outside of downtown LA.
There's always something. There's always a protest there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting. I mean, I don't know if I'm the right person to have an opinion on any of this, but I think the facts are this is all happening. And then Mayor Karen Bass and Newsom have said, hey, we've got this handled. And then Trump has basically deployed the California National Guard. And that has not happened for 70 years?
Yeah.
I think since 1965.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of an unprecedented series of events that are happening. And so I think for our listeners, I guess the big question is like, how does this affect real estate?
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Yeah. How does it affect you, Paul?
Well, this morning we had many construction crews basically uncomfortable going to LA at the moment. So, right now I think we have 12 or 15 projects that are under construction in different parts of LA.
Right.
And, most of the inventory that we purchase is going to be either coastal or really nice pockets. We have a new property that we bought really close to like the Hollywood Bowl, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a little micro pocket, of LA. But I would say like in Los Angeles as a whole, we're focused on kind of that, midpoint buyer. I'm not interested in luxury, and I'm not, doing not as many deals. We'll do deals in rougher parts of town if the deal makes sense. We're kind of agnostic that way. But I think most of our inventory is kind of west side. But construction crews are still nervous to go there.
Yeah.
And it's tough for me because I'm like, guys, just go to the property, work, and then go home.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% clear on what their concern is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
and I think there's so much of it that, again, it's all press and media and things have been maybe blown up a bit with, as you said, an unprecedented move. It probably scares people. It makes people think that California is insane, and so I think it's understandable that some contractors would be timid if you really don't have a pulse of what's going on. But but you and I are going up there on Thursday, so we can report back.
Yes,
we'll give the real deal. Eyes on it.
Yeah, it's probably not the right place to say any of this stuff, but I'm going to do it anyways. I really believe I'm not on any side of any of this, but it's probably a big mistake what Trump did. But I would almost guarantee that his cohort, in Washington, are looking at this as an opportunity to basically make California look dumb.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, it's the rest of the country is thinking, what's going on in California,
Yeah.
I mean, and that comes just a few days after he said he's going to cut off funding and everything else. So, it kind of, it makes sense. Like, that's why it makes sense why he did what he did.
Yeah, I mean, politicians always look for an angle and leverage. And so the minute something like this happens, it's like
he
all
wants
in.
to capitalize. Yeah, and his team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, politics.
But I mean, I think broader real estate perspective is, and actually this kind of plays into it too. I went to a really interesting event about 3 weeks ago in the Palisades, and we got to go, kind of tour the whole, all the whole city basically. We started our process at the firehouse, right downtown, right next to like the little, village. And we met the fire chief, and it was a really interesting dynamic. What I didn't fully understand, because I was pretty angry as an owner of real estate in that market. I'm like,
Right.
okay, everyone's talking about this water issue.
Yeah.
And what they had said was really interesting. So if you think about your house and you turn on 2 or 3 faucets, you're gonna have decent water pressure.
Right.
But if you turn on all your faucets, the water pressure likely goes down a little bit, just a small amount.
Yeah.
But there are 11,000 houses that burn, right?
Right.
And so the more properties that burned all the way to the ground, there is no shutoff. And so it wasn't like if that reservoir at the very top of the Palisades was full, that it would have solved the issue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily, and I'm not, just for clarity, I'm not condoning the actions of the city of Los Angeles and the water department and whatever.
But it's good to have a firsthand account of what the reality was, because there's so much back and forth. And as you mentioned, I mean, like so many politics involved that it's great to hear, firsthand, here's what the situation was.
Yeah. So if the fire, because usually most houses have a main shutoff. So the fire department, what they were telling us is that if they were at a house and they were trying to put it out, whether it was successful or not, they were attempting to turn the main shutoff valves off so that house was no longer drawing water so it could be distributed back through the grid.
Right.
But the problem is that fire got so hot that a lot of the main lines were even, melted.
Right.
And so there's just no way to get water to those areas.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was crazy to see, like from a firefighter's perspective, like, we asked the question, how do you solve for this? And it's like, you just can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do little things like you can build differently. I mean, it is very weird when you drive around the Palisades. There'll be like 10 houses in a row that are burned down and then one that's standing.
Yeah.
The only difference between that one and the others that burned is they don't have wood that's exposed on the external structure.
Oh, interesting.
So houses that have metal roofs, and then those roofs were either wrapped, so the dormer vents and the eaves or the fascia board. If that's not wood, if it's metal or it's stuccoed over, those houses didn't spark up and light on fire. And so that's probably one of the things that homeowners can do.
That's a major takeaway of
Yeah, and then obviously just like cleaning debris. I mean, but those winds were insane.
What can you do? Yeah. I mean, I guess now we know.
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring that up because, we've talked about all of these homeowners that were displaced. And I actually had the opportunity to meet with some buyers yesterday that their house burned completely down. And so they have been renting here in Orange County since that happened. And, they just said everyone just needed time to regroup. And it was such a trauma that, they needed a little bit of peace and just, got away, came to Orange County. But now they're looking to stay in Orange County. So it's really interesting. Yeah. Surprise. But it's really interesting because from what they're seeing with their community and all their friends, it just feels like impossible to, maybe take the time that it's going to take to build there right now. And so they're moving on. They had friends that moved out of state and just are renting, and now everyone's kind of regrouping. Insurance has been paid out, school season's over, and now it's time to maybe start looking again. So should be interesting here in Orange County to see how that changes our market a bit. Yeah,
I mean, we had 3 properties that burned down in the Palisade fire. We have insurance money on 1 now, as of a week ago.
Oh, okay.
We had a property that didn't burn down, actually, that goes to market next week.
Yeah.
Which we're excited about.
And it's an amazing property with great views. And if you're looking in the Palisades, it's the one.
I mean, in fairness, shameless plug, it's like, it's a small townhome. It's the right price point, $1.5 million is what we'll come back to market with. It's up at the very, very top. But it'll be a great investment long-term regardless. Yeah. So if you're a family of 2 or 3 or, a couple of retirees or a single guy, whatever, gal, it's a great spot until you get rebuilt.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Palisades plan was interesting at the same event. We can move on past this, but Caruso has that, development down in the Village, and I've heard all sorts of crazy stuff about, perspective. Some people believe his stuff didn't burn down because he built it with metal roofs and there's no wood exposed and all that kind of stuff. Other people believe it didn't burn down because he's this like iconic figure and he had his own like firefighting department and
we were talking conspiracy theories right before this.
Yes.
So there are so many.
Yeah, I mean, he ran LEDWP for a long time. And then he's a prolific real estate investor, in Southern California. So I don't know what's true, but he essentially has a 2, 3, and 5 year plan for the Palisades. So he would like that main little village to be open in 2 years. The 3-year plan is to get some of the rest of the infrastructure up and running. And then their goal is that in 5 years, it feels like the community that was before the fires. And to me, I'm like, holy shit, there's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, you could definitely get the village back open.
Yeah.
But, rebuilding 11,000 houses at once.
Yeah, that had so much character and...
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think actually just building that many is the complication.
Yeah.
Those streets are all very, very narrow. And so the logistics of each individual owner doing something slightly different, I mean, just the ingress and egress alone, it's going to be really complicated.
A logistical nightmare.
Yeah. So I've heard of people that are actually just renting their dirt lot to builders for the next 5 years.
Wow.
So they're signing 5-year leases with builders so that they can stage construction material and equipment on their lot.
Wow, yeah.
They're not in a hurry to rebuild. They don't need something. So if you're listening and you're in that boat, that's an interesting opportunity.
Yeah.
Some builders, I know Thomas James, whether you like their business model or not, I mean, they're trying to build, essentially master plan communities.
Yeah.
But it's, the integrity of that community is going to be really interesting because I could see every house looking and feeling exactly the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're days away from our permit. We're going to do something different. We're going to build either a Spanish or Mediterranean style house. So we'll see.
Well, I think we should transition because that is a lot of information.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And I do want to talk about kind of what's going on with your business, what's going on with our business before we wrap up.
Yeah.
But I think we should transition to a Homes Gone Wild story because
let's do it.
It's been a while. I haven't heard one. And again, these stories are submitted by our listeners. And this one is, I haven't seen it yet. Only a few keywords have stood out to me, but I'm ready for you to give it a read.
Okay. So in this week's segment of Homes Gone Wild, the other interesting part for our listeners is we don't know who submitted these.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to figure out who I can pay to get who these people are because some of them I want to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so 10 years ago, as a brand new baby agent, so this is a young person, I'm assuming, second home I had ever shown, and the couple wanted to spend more time sitting in the living room and asking me some questions about the process. I was hyper-focused on their questions and making sure I sounded like I knew what I was doing. Once we're done, I lock the door and return the house key to the Supra. So if you're not aware of what a Supra is, it's like a little lockbox that you can open up as an agent in California. We're walking to our vehicles and I realized my purse with my keys and phone was not on my shoulder, but still on the chair in the house.
Ooh.
This is a problem because you can't open the Supra. You open the Supra with your phone. So my Jeep wasn't locked, so I got in and I pretended I was looking down, returning texts on my invisible phone. I looked up to wave as they pulled out. Once they turned the corner, I asked around the house, or stalked around the house like a burglar, trying every door and window. So worried a neighbor would see me and confront me or call the police, or worse, someone else would pull up for a showing. I finally found an unlocked window behind a hedge and hoisted myself an uncomfortable height to flop my body through the window, landing on a table and knocking over a lamp. Somehow nothing broke. I put everything back, then unlocked the Supra again so I could lock back up. Chill AF like it never even happened. Chill AF like it never even happened, other than the huge dirt strip across my skirt from balancing precariously ass out the window. So yeah, I broke into the second home I showed.
Oh man, that is so good. But what do you do?
I mean, I think
because
whoever...
You can't call anyone.
Well, it's a woman because she... Well, I guess I'm assuming it's a woman because she had skirt. It could have been a guy in a skirt. But I think he or she did the right thing.
Yeah.
Other than... Well, you didn't have your phone either.
Yeah, you don't have your phone because I would say you could call the listing agent. But no, what are you going to do?
It's a great story.
You are breaking into that house. That's what you're doing.
I will also say that the writing is really well done. I thought it was good.
As a brand new baby agent.
Yeah. Chill AF like it never happened. I love it. This is awesome.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we need more stories. So more like this. This was a good one. So if you're listening and you have a good real estate story, we need to hear it.
Yes, this is great. I don't have any good stories in the last week like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Every week something different happens in all the businesses we're operating.
Well, and the funny thing is, I mean, even if something happened, it's all just so common now that like it doesn't even register to repeat. It's like it's all so crazy in real estate all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that adage, right? Like the biggest thing for you in your life right now is the biggest thing for you in your life right now. So depending on what you're up to, I mean, if you are not doing anything and it's like you lose a game of video games, that's the biggest thing in your life, and that's what you get all emotional about, or you know, something major in our business. So you kind of get numb when you're a leader of a business. You get numb to these things that occur. Which I don't know if it's good or bad, but
no, I mean, I get agent calls on a daily basis of things that they're experiencing that are bizarre, you know, and so I think it's one of those things where, you know, you work with enough people and you've got so many moving parts in real estate. I think a lot of times people don't understand there are, you know, buyers, there are sellers, there are agents representing both of those people. There's an escrow company, there's a title rep, there's a home inspector.
Transaction coordinators.
I mean, so many people are involved and there are so many moving parts that it's every transaction, there's something, you know, there's a story there.
It's basically just a massive game of telephone.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like preschool telephone where you say like a 5-word sentence and then by the end it gets around the circle.
Yeah.
It's something completely different.
Yeah.
That's what every transaction feels like to me.
Exactly. And it's, you know, I don't love blaming real estate agents, but I think sometimes real estate agents really get in the way because of that game of telephone. It's one of those things where there are so many emotions involved. We've talked about that before, but so many emotions that sometimes the real estate agent can be the one that is hindering a deal. And so we're just constantly encouraging, like, remove the emotions from it, focus on getting to the finish line because, you know, I mean, I'm helping out in a transaction right now where it really is, a seller replaced appliances like for like when they were closing the deal. And the agent was like, these are not like for like. They're literally the same year, same type of appliances. And if it's all on the messaging, right? Like if you're delivering this to your clients and you're explaining to them, hey, these are the same exact appliances.
No big deal.
The same year. It's no big deal. They're both appliances were 10 years old. So you're going to replace them regardless.
Either way.
You have a home warranty, let's move on. But instead, it's just, the emotions play such a huge role in real estate.
Yeah, I think it's every business. Basically, I mean, when people wake up in the morning, if they don't put themselves in an environment where they're challenged or uncomfortable, then when that kind of a thing pops up, it becomes the challenging and uncomfortable thing they have to deal with for the day. And then it just like, and people love feeling important. So it's like the agent calls friends and they're like, I got to deal with this seller that did this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And it's all bullshit. It's like, that's why that's why I run every morning. I wake up and I do a really hard workout every morning because I'm like, okay, if that's the very first thing I do, everything else I'm going to deal with is going to be just fine.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that big of a deal.
Easy. Yeah.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
But, being disciplined is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the hard part, right?
So what's going on in your business or Innovate, our business right now? Like what's new?
Oh my gosh, so much. I feel like we've reached this point in Innovate where I think, number one, people are kind of getting a feeling for what we're doing out in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people coming our way because, we have taken the approach that is a little different than most brokerages, which is, we service our agents, we service our clients, and we find solutions for all. And I think, we have been talking to some top agents recently that, they're at other brokerages. We won't name names.
All of them. Every brokerage.
That all they have is the name, and
it's the brand.
It's the brand, but they're not doing anything else for their agents. And so I think word is getting out that, we are a little different. We're specializing and we're focusing on bringing agents success, bringing clients success, and solving for the problems that are in the marketplace at this time. And so we're really busy meeting with agents to see if they're the right fit for Innovate, but it's great. I think we've finally have broken through that barrier for people to understand what we're doing. So positive things.
Yeah. To me, it feels like, there's every organization has some sort of direction, right? And, again, we won't name names, but there are brokerages that are growing very, very quickly right now that are focused on recruiting. There are brokerages that had grown very quickly but are no longer growing to shrinking, and they're very focused on the brand. But I think the vision of a company or an organization, is critical. But it's really, the vision can be broken down into a couple different things. My opinion is that the culture of a business is like another person inside of it, but it's the amalgam of the way that all of the people in the organization interact. So if there's 100 people in a company, there's really 101, and that one person you can't see, touch, or feel is the culture, but it's defined as the way that all of those 100 people work together or interact together.
Yeah,
and I really do get the sense that not all, but the vast majority of the agents at Innovate are very, very focused on improving every day. So if I can just get 1% better, if I can get 1% better, over the course of a year, I'm going to be 300% better.
Right.
And I think, of course, in every organization, you're going to have some bad apples. But with that kind of energy, it's not very difficult for agents that see us transacting or interact with us. They go, oh, wow, I should probably look at that.
Yeah.
I should probably inquire about what it would be like.
Yeah.
And so I think that people are moving for some of the things that you mentioned, like opportunity, and they're moving for some of the products and things that we built. But I actually really believe they're moving over because of the way that the business is being run.
Right.
And the way that the agents interact with each other internally.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a tough market as an agent for a long time.
Yeah.
It's not going to get easier.
Yeah, I mean, they're calling for the Fed to drop interest rates. So, do we think that's gonna change anything, or?
I mean, if interest rates lower, I obviously people will buy.
Right.
Right. But I think the question is like, will rates lower?
should they lower? Do you think rates should lower? Like, not selfishly, like, do you think the data supports interest rates going down?
I don't know. I mean, so I probably said this on the podcast before. When we look at 30-year fixed mortgages, they usually are trading 175 basis points, so 1.75% higher than the 10-year Treasury rate.
Right.
As of this morning, the 10-year Treasury rate was 4.4. I can give you the exact number real quick. I think it was 4.47. Let me just see where it is now. It's 4.476.
Okay.
So that would state that we should see a 6.1% 30-year fixed mortgage, right? So that's that 175 basis point spread. We're not seeing that right now. We're at 6.8, and it's primarily because those buyers, that are buying the 30-year backed, the mortgage-backed security, they need additional yield right now because they do feel like at some point in the near future rates will come down,
right?
And people will refi,
right?
So there's this glut of loans. When rates were like 2% and 3%, everyone bought, everyone refinanced,
right.
And unless you have to move, like life events, people are pretty.
It's hard to give that up.
Yeah, I have a really close friend. Him and his wife just had another child. And they're like, we don't have the space. We need to move.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I can't afford to let go of my mortgage.
Yeah.
Like, we need
So
more
good.
of a house, but I'm not going to sell.
Yeah.
So they're looking at all sorts of other options. But I think that's what's happening.
Right.
So anybody that did move or buy after those really, really low rates are baked in like the 6-7 range.
Yeah.
So if rates come back to 5.5, everyone's going to refinance.
Right.
So whoever bought that mortgage-backed security is going to get taken out of their position. Their yield's going to come down.
Right.
So I really believe that, the Fed would have to make major moves, to really see that gap, shorten. But the other question you're really asking me is like, what's a healthy interest rate? Like 5% is beautiful. I think when my parents bought their first home in I guess it was the 70s, rates were like 16%.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 12? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like very expensive, very expensive money. So, I don't think that a 6.7 or 6.8% mortgage is that expensive.
Right.
You're borrowing somebody else's money for 30 years.
Right.
To own a house.
Yeah.
And so, but obviously the pain point that people are talking about is that, values haven't come down.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but on the same note, real estate is finite. It's not like, at least in coastal areas of California, there's not going to be hundreds of thousands of units rebuilt.
Right.
Or new units. And 2009 was brutal for the housing market in terms of new inventory. Essentially all building halted.
Yeah.
So we're still in a position where we have a housing shortage in terms of total units, and we will for probably 20 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's logical for the Fed to kind of just be laissez-faire, like maybe a half a point, maybe a quarter.
Yeah, I think that's what we're anticipating before the end of the year. Maybe half a point. But I think I've heard some buyers talk about uncertainty and talk about a recession and maybe a crash and hoping values are going to go down. But really, over the past 100 years, we've seen that happen twice, where it's gone down by 10%, right?
Or
so
more,
it's like Great Depression and 2008.
Yep.
So, and I think we know why in those two situations that happened. So it's just not likely, So it's, I think there's some uncertainty in the market for buyers. People are waiting for rates to go down. We're saying, and we're anticipating they're probably not going to go down that much, and home values are not going to go down that much. So it's important to. There are so many creative options out there to affect affordability if that is the actual issue, which you've said before you don't believe is the actual issue. But there are so many creative options and creative ways to buy houses. I think it's just that should be the message that's getting out there versus like, oh, recession coming or lower interest rates. Let's get the Fed to lower interest rates and demand that. Like it's, it's so much bigger than just that.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I would love for the Fed to lower interest rates, but I think there's definitely a bigger picture as, you're mentioning. And I think, if really what we can be focusing on is, if you want to buy a house, we will help you buy a house. We will show you the path to buy a house.
I feel like, the analogy that I've been thinking about for the last couple of months is about, weight loss. So I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, but it's like, if somebody needs to lose weight or wants to lose weight, it's actually very simple.
Yeah.
You need to burn more calories than you consume.
Yeah.
And you need to do it every day for a long period of time. That's it.
Yeah.
If you do that, that is the simple recipe to lose weight.
It's really funny, just real quick, not to throw you off. My brother always says, he's like, you could eat 10 Reese's a day. Like, it doesn't matter where these calories come from.
That's it.
You might not be super healthy, but like the calories are what
you
matter.
You can still lose weight. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
But that's all you're eating for the day.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to eat. But it's about like, it's about spending less than you make and just go work harder. A 6% mortgage doesn't matter if you put 20 or 30% down.
Yeah.
A 10% market correction doesn't matter if you put 20 or 30% down.
Yeah.
If you don't have 20 or 30% to go put down on a house, work harder.
Yeah. Go get it. Figure it out.
I struggle with people that, I talk to a million people all the time about this. That's like, it's too expensive. Houses have not come down. Interest rates are too high. And it's like, just stop complaining and go work.
Yeah.
Go save some money. Go figure it out, make a couple good investments, and then buy a house if that's what you're interested in.
I think the takeaway is like you and I both come from a place where like we weren't handed anything,
No.
We had to work for everything that we've created. And I think that, we're in a space now where we see how you can make yourself wealthy by making some smart decisions. And I think we both know that really anyone can do it if they want to.
Yeah.
And that's not to go back to Innovate, but it's like, that's something that we offer our agents is, we'll put them on a path of like how to invest and how to, fix and flip homes. But really, and we've had people on the podcast that have been in the same position where it's like, you know what? You figure it out. Like you find a way, and we have so many opportunities out there. You just have to go out there and do it. So,
It's do the stuff that other people don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone knows the road to success, but not very many people want to take it because it's uncomfortable and it's difficult.
Right.
And so if in your head you're thinking, okay, I want to buy a house in 2025 in Orange County, but it's too expensive and rates are too high, and I don't know how I'm going to afford it. Maybe stop thinking about that and start thinking about how you spend a little less, save a little more, work a little harder, and then you can buy.
Yeah. And it's not going to be on the avocado toast saving. Like that wasn't real. But so I don't want to go back to that message.
Yeah.
But no, I think you find a way to make things work. And I can give so many examples, and even like my first purchase in real estate where it was like, was it really uncomfortable? Was it really difficult to say, like, I'm going to give my last dollar to put into this house to do it? But, it's the sacrifice you make. And now, I have multiple properties, and, it's what it takes to make it happen. So, yeah.
Yeah. People are, we're much more resilient than most people think we are.
Yeah.
Like not you and me, but just humans in general. We are too.
Yeah.
But,
I
agree. I think it's interesting. So all things are good then.
Things are good. Yeah. Yeah. I think though, what's really good is us playing Rate That Listing.
Let's do it.
So we are, for our listeners that don't know, we're going to play Rate That Listing. We really recommend that you guys check out these photos as well. We will do our best to really describe the photos, but I think also, if you're checking it out on YouTube or listening on YouTube, you should definitely watch. But anyway, we are going to be getting the location. We're going to be guessing the price of the home.
Okay.
And we're going to get numbers of the number of bedrooms, bath, and square footage.
Okay.
So we're guessing the price on this one.
Let's do this.
Okay.
I have an unfair advantage because we look at a lot of real estate nationally.
I know. Do you look in Winter Haven, Florida?
We do.
33880?
We do look at a lot of Florida properties. I don't know if I've seen Winter Haven.
Okay. 8 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, 7,800 square feet. What would that be here in California? On the coast?
Orange County or LA?
Orange County.
I mean, holy smokes. I walked a 2,200 square foot property in Newport Beach on Friday that was 2,800 a foot.
Yeah.
So that would be, whatever. I mean, sheesh.
Come on, numbers,
40
guy.
million? Like a big number.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Are we going to guess now, or do we get to look at the condition?
We're going to look at the condition, but yeah.
Oh no, guess now.
Oh, we're just guessing.
You're saying guess now. Okay.
Okay. They're
Well,
changing the rules on us, but
I'm gonna guess.
okay, this is helpful. No photos. No photos for our listeners.
I
that
don't
can't
know
see.
Winter Haven. I'm assuming it's a big house, so I'm assuming it's either extremely rural or it's like on the water. So there's a big gap here.
Winter Haven. I'm feeling like they're gonna try and trick us on this.
Yeah, this is
first
gonna be
one.
rural. Yeah.
So I think this is gonna be like
$1.2 million.
620.
620.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say $1.2 million. That's a big house.
I know. Okay, let's see.
620
Drum roll,
is the
drum
guess.
roll.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
1595.
Okay, I was way off.
Okay.
I thought we were gonna get like super tricked. That's what I was thinking. I was expecting like they're gonna throw one in there that it's like there's like no actual rooms or working bathrooms.
Well, let's see. This is probably, I would guess based on that price point, it's like Orlando, near Orlando.
Okay, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
So
we've got like lions, statues of lions in the entryway,
this
and
is
it's a big grand
big
entryway.
Property. Yeah, the 2-car garage there, big driveway, grand entrance.
Okay.
I'm the least descriptive.
Oh, it's on the
person in
water.
world, by the way.
So it's right on the water. You got some solar. Oh, look at the above ground pool. It's a nice touch.
Got a big lot there too. Big lot.
You know what though? I feel like we always focus way too much on the property we're looking at. Look at the grass at the neighbor. I mean, they just mowed it the day before. The lines are on point.
Yeah.
But the subject property has like a little some soccer nets in the backyard.
Okay.
Okay, well, so this has got to be
rocky.
like, no, this can't be the main kitchen. This has to be like guest quarters or something.
Yeah.
But we've got like,
It seems like they're going beach themed with the
don't
rocks on the background.
Yeah, it's like
and
river
on the backsplash.
stones. I guess.
River stones. Okay.
Wait, is this a different? Wait,
This is
what
the
is
same
this?
property. Okay.
Okay, this
so
is a kitchen. This is a laundry room and a
laundry
fridge.
with a laundry. Okay, so we got to
Star
describe
Wars
this.
themed.
We got to describe this. So it's an appliance room. Let's call it an appliance room.
I mean, this has to be functioning as another kitchen. There's a
Yeah.
cooktop. So explaining it, it's a Star Wars themed room. There are cabinets everywhere. We've got a refrigerator. Next to the refrigerator, we have what appears to be a washer dryer. There is a toaster oven and a microwave and a coffee pot.
I don't understand. They have so much space in this house. Why is it
7,800
all
square
being jammed in this like tiny like laundry room?
Oh my goodness, this is Jurassic Park. There's an indoor swimming pool in this 7,800 square foot house. There's a T-Rex in the left, like a full-size skeleton of a T-Rex. Pterodactyls flying in the air. Swans in the pool.
Wow, it looked so different from the outside, didn't it? I mean, the
Yes.
lions. We have a story about the gargoyles. And,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
so that
God.
should have been the indicator that like we were gonna walk into
So
something.
happy that we sold that house.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
So this is like a
SpongeBob
kid's room,
room.
SpongeBob
But
themed.
this is, the ceiling, is this a room? I'm going back to this. Is this one of the 7 bedrooms? Because this looks
Can't be.
like
It cannot be.
nook.
This is like a 4
Like
foot
a-
ceiling height.
Yeah, like no human.
No.
Parents can't get up there.
No.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, this whole house is weird. Something weird is happening.
Yeah.
So there's another kitchen.
Waiting for the end here. Okay, so there's the kitchen with another refrigerator. Still the rock.
I mean, this person's
you were right
super
about
into
that Jurassic Park. We've got a Lost World video game.
Look at the monkey on the left with the symbols. An ape.
Zoltar. Oh, okay. So like, shout out to the old movies with the games. And
Well, they actually have money that they're collecting. They have like their guests come by and actually pay to play the
Maybe
games.
people are like,
So they're paying the
hey,
mortgage.
there's not a lot going on in what was the
White Water Haven.
Haven? Yeah.
Okay.
People are coming over for game time. Okay. Well,
Indoor
this got weird.
Indoor sauna and
Gym.
with zombies.
Okay.
Everywhere.
So you've got the zombies standing over the the bench press. Yeah. Just to watch over you while as you're benching, you're looking up at the zombies.
It is creepy.
Okay. Well.
There's like an indoor bar.
Oh, a Ninja Turtle. That's pretty cool.
I mean, this person's super into video games.
Yeah, video games and maybe like nostalgic old movies. And when I say old, like our era old.
Or just weird stuff.
Okay.
So wait, do we get, so we don't know if this house sold yet.
Okay.
It has not sold. It's still on the market. If you're in the market to buy a 7,800 square foot house in West Haven,
with
Florida.
a water view.
Is it close to Orlando? Let's look at the location. I just an acre and a half. Holy Toledo.
Wow.
You get an acre and a half for $1.6 million and a 7,800 square foot house.
Water
just
view.
click back to the map and then zoom out.
I feel like it's a steal.
It has to be by Orlando.
Okay, let's see.
Tampa.
Tampa.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
But it's kind of like in the middle of the state.
Yeah,
So it's
that's a
east
lake.
of Tampa.
They got a lake. Oh, yeah. It really is. It's in between Tampa and Orlando.
So if you're interested in getting eaten by an alligator on your acre and a half, you can buy this.
While staring at zombies and dinosaurs. Yeah.
If I'm rating the listing, because this is not a fixer opportunity. It's too big and rural.
No, you don't want that.
I give this listing like a 2.
Yeah.
It's just too eccentric. Like the house itself and the lot, it could trade.
Yeah.
But this, like, they just, no client control. You got to take all this shit out of it.
It's the same story every time. You know, going back, it's like okay, there are
We're seeing more photos online.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
There's like a Jabba the Hutt in the corner. There's a theater.
Yeah. I mean, all I'll say is the takeaway to all of these segments in Rate That Listing is just get all the stuff out of the house, you know. Give the buyer the opportunity to imagine themselves in the home. I don't know who is imagining themselves. This is a niche buyer, you know.
Very
you are
niche.
looking for a very specific person in Winter Haven, Florida. So it might take a while to sell.
Yeah, and I would imagine in that location it's mostly retired people. They're not buying that.
All right. Well, okay. With that, any other updates before we close it out?
No, I mean, I think everything else is great. We've got buy houses. You know, we're buying a lot of real estate at the moment. We've got, I think, 8 properties on market to sell. So still same tone for the last couple months. We're seeing little micro pockets. Stuff in LA that's sub 3 million is trading quickly. Stuff that's north of 3 is slow, and like a true conforming loan, you know, sub 1.2 in LA is actually slower than we would have anticipated.
Yeah.
Orange County's fast right now.
Yeah.
Orange County's
Still
moving very
moving quick.
quickly.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Okay. Well, with that,
That's a
until
wrap.
next time.
Yeah. So if you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It helps out a lot. Please submit your Homes Gone
I
Wild
need more stories.
and
yes.
Rate That Listing opportunities. I think the other thing we should start to do is get a little spicier and roast the agent if they did a bad job. So we should have been a little bit tougher on this agent.
Yeah.
Whoever submitted
I'll start calling them out.
this West Haven listing. So, just get ready
We're
for that.
coming for you.
Yeah, we're coming.
Okay.
That's a wrap. See you
ya.
next week.